in a way, it's kind of a shift away from this whole argument you have to win X amount of lanes because now you move out of the lane so fast. It's more you have to win the first 10 minutes and 2/3 of the map, more or less, because
Yeah, it's
we do see
how you can
rotations more often.
yeah, it's how can you take that first outpost fight, and if you get that 2-0 on the outpost, you're going to have like a 5 minute window where you potentially might have that little advantage where if your draft has slightly more ability to be proactive, then you can punish it. But again, like you saw in the HellRaisers game, they didn't need to care about any of that really. They just had to go 1 for 1 on outposts, farm up, get that TA Blink Dagger Deso, and then they could go. So there's room for things to become quirky, but overall the timings of some of these heroes are still the same. So the TAs, the Night Stalkers, they're still very much the same.
There are interesting layers to these drafts, right? You think of the movement speed in these fights from Team Spirit, the Stampede being key here. Whereas Hellraisers, even though they saw that, they then went for this call, which usually you think of Centaurs as a very good pick against the Keeper Light, especially with Ignis being nerfed a little bit and your ability to quickly move out. But they have the Disruptor and Doom to back that up. Is it me
Yeah,
or is
so
Team Spirit not fully ignoring, but to an extent just focusing on completing their own draft now instead of paying attention to Hellraiser's picks?
it does look like that in a way where you have the Centaur pick into Disruptor. Disruptor is one of those natural heroes that can deal with the Centaur. Hellraisers though, they picking up the Coddle and they're ending up the second phase with another Night Stalker pick, which again, if it can get the items, if it can outfarm the Morphling in the start of the game, it can counter the Morphling. Because if you get that silence onto him, if potentially by a Blink Dagger on the Night Stalker, you can just stop the Morphling from being able to attribute shift. So they're Hellraisers have opted to go for somewhat the same style of draft in the second game into their third. They've got this high tempo carry. They're going to have a offlaner that's going to be able to just sit in his lane and get fat. And so right now, Team Spirit, they have a single core lineup. Like the Centaur doesn't do insane damage, he's just a control. So right now the Doom has so much value where all he has to do in a team fight is Doom the Morphling and he's gonna die. So I'd like to see Team Spirit pick up potentially another core that can provide the Doom a little bit of a challenge in these team fights. Like he has to choose which one he wants to go for.
Definitely. There's a definite awkwardness about the way that Team Spirit has to fight in that if you do Doom the Morphling, you go, oh, my Centaur get me out, but you mentioned the Night Stalker buying a Blink Dagger, he can get on top of the Centaur, you've got Disruptor, Static Storms. There's plenty of ways to stop the disengage. It feels like right now with that Bounty Hunter pick, Team Spirit are creating this environment where they have to snowball off the lanes really hard and just milk all that track gold.
Potentially so, yeah. I think Hellraisers, like this bounty, it might feel a little bit too under pressure. He doesn't like it when teams group up. And right now, Hellraisers, they have it's the exact same timing that we spoke about the last game. They're gonna have this 20-minute timing, which is like around about their Night Stalker Aghanim's, which the Hellraisers should be grouping up and going. And Bounty Hunter naturally suffers against these lineups. And Morphling, he's going to want to farm. If he has a bad start, he's going to be recovering in this time. So the laning phase is critical for Team Spirit, where they have to go even and even try and win some of these lanes, which might be difficult. Otherwise, they're going to be under so much pressure. And all Hellraisers need to do now is pick a mid lane that can provide them a little bit of tempo and a little bit of high ground that can punish the Team Spirit. So, for example, like a Pugna, one of these types of like it can go fare well in most matchups and provide that little bit more to get them through to get them to end the game. Give them a little bit of a winning mechanism.
Do you like the idea of something like a Dragon Knight as a third kind of frontline type hero for Hellraisers? Or do you want something that's just a bit more squishy but higher on the damage for Hellraisers?
My only fear is if they go for a Dragon Knight, then you potentially can get Timber Sword
Yeah.
and all three of the cores of strength. You have this Morphling that can kind of sit in one lane. You just pick up a Gyrocopter. Yes. So now this is it's also a very good pick. It's another one of those tempo heroes. It can fight early, has insane magic damage, of course, can scale into late game. But the only issue here is simply Morphling v Gyro is very much like it's a Morphling favorite matchup. He wants to become the Gyro, get that flat cannon. So if these fights go into the mid to late game, then the Morphling will feel pretty comfortable in understanding how we can approach that timing. It's again, it's very key right now. Team Spirit need to find a way to get through the laning phase and that those first couple of engagements and make sure they don't lose too much ground.
The real question in my mind right now is, will Team Spirit try and play for that snowball off the lane, or is Bounty Hunter just going to spend the entire game sniping couriers?
I really hope he plays from the lane and couriers are like in the back of his mind. If he thinks courier first, then he's going to be sacking one lane and it's going to play into what HellRaisers need. You saw it again yesterday. The way HellRaisers played with the Nature's Prophet, he went. Oh no, it was Team
Oh,
Spirit.
Team
Sorry,
Spirit, yeah, Team Spirit.
Team Spirit. They focused so hard on going for couriers that he then sacked one of his lanes or both side lanes, and he didn't optimally punish the fact that Nature's Prophet early on, with you when there's TPs and the ability to always bring an extra man to a fight, because he wasn't doing that. They did suffer in the early game. So
Farm pick, they bring out the Lycan. So Team Spirit, well, this isn't the exact same thing they done with Nature's Prophet, but it definitely has a similar feeling to that game where they just tried to drag to late game by splitting the map super hard.
yeah, this is a little bit worrying for Team Spirit because all of the heroes and Hellraisers can provide some type of counter to the cause on Spirit. So the Night Stalker silence and the Doom against the Morphling, the Gyro naturally can deal with the summons from the Lycan. It's all about if this Lycan has a good start to the game, can he create enough confusion and disruption on Hellraisers to allow the Morphling to get to his key items, who can then inevitably then start turning around these engagements. But in a pure 5v5 right now, Hellraisers does take it.
Oh, we'll see. Have to see if we get to that super late game scenario where this is the real question, all right? I don't think either of us have tested this. Does double howl stack?
I'm gonna hit that with a no.
Look, you've tested it?
No, I'm just gonna outright just say nah. It probably shouldn't work.
I kind of want it
might
to
work.
see this really cheesy, no damage done strategy, a bit like OG TIA.
I see. Okay. Well, I can.
It would be interesting if this is like the pocket strat,
Okay.
but probably it doesn't work.
It might work. If it is two separate heroes, I was thinking you meant just like and
Oh,
double howling,
refreshing.
right?
No, yeah, but if you
Yeah,
morph,
okay,
right?
so, okay. So
Because that's actually quite scary to think about. Like, it's only a small window, but if you think about where most of Hellraiser's damage comes, it's in the first 8 seconds, right? From the Disruptor, when you're talking about the Gyro with the flat cannons coming out, even the Night Stalker's voids.
but this is a mid to late game scenario where they're actually
Yes.
able to do something with it.
I'm talking
If
in a
it's-
vacuum because there's a Team Spirit and we saw what they wanted to do yesterday. If there's any team that we've seen so far that likes dragging games out, it's definitely them. But
I'm totally not testing this, by the way.
it sounds it sounds busted if it works, right? Like it's a 40% attack damage reduction.
You know they've taken away the talent to become your ally, right?
Oh,
Do you
that's
need the
right.
axe?
But the axe.
So okay, no, don't worry. Do I get axe? Get axe?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's only one. It's only one.
Okay,
Thank
so
you,
not
fam.
busted there. But in fairness, if you do get the Ags Stampede,
30 seconds to
If you do get the axe,
Centaur.
you have. No, I'm thinking the Lycan purchases the axe, turns his Morphling.
Oh yeah.
Now that's scary. But again, I don't like. I'm gonna make it clear. I don't.
These
like
are in
the
a
Team Spirit
vacuum.
draft.
Yeah, you have to get to this stage, and this is really relying on Hellraisers not executing. And when they have a Night Stalker, they've proven they know their timing as well. See what happens on these bounty runes. I think it should be a bounty rune for bounty hunter. That's what it's open anyway. Inkswell as well. They actually went for the invis level 1. They might be able to get a kill onto Nyx out of this, but the home missile should cover his escape just about. By the way, that is going to be 3 runes going the way of Hellraisers, despite this effort on the rune.
I don't know if it's worth it for the gyrocopter. He's gonna have to instantly bring out Salve and the bounty hunter, knowing that his regen's gonna come out. He's gonna sit in between the towers. So,
They have to expect this though.
oh, of course, you can see that the courier's kind of parked up, waiting for Immersion to show himself. Nyx is trying to mind game Immersion right now, tipping him, saying, "I know you're there. Can you please leave?" And then he'll use the courier. Oh,
He's bribe. No.
games
It's
unfold.
not mind games. It's outright bribery. He's bribing him to leave the mid lane.
that's true. Oh.
Ghost Stick in the meantime has been left on the bot lane. Even when the bounty hunter arrives, bounty does struggle a little bit on the lane against blinding light. I mean, most heroes still struggle against blinding light even after it got nerfed.
Nearly getting the kill, but cancelling the Salve and Disruptor in top lane.
Ghostic will have to salve up soon. He activated the Retaliate and Miposhka gets a little bit of punishment back. All in all, so far, Lycan actually even with the Gyrocopter. It's the type of hero that can't really punish you for not having access to your Courier super early, right? Like, Lycan just wants to farm.
Yeah, Lycan in terms of mid lane, unless he's against, like, let's say, like a Quap or a Lina type matchup, he will always just free farm, which plays into what Team Spirit need. They need a hero to be able to bridge the how awkward their draft is in the first 20 minutes.
Hopefully he can actually get the farm. Probably Helmet dominated build as we typically see. Already has his nice little buckler out. Feels like such a good item now.
Yeah, I think Team Secret and some of their... I know they were playing against some lesser skilled opponents, but they went to lane with 3 bucklers and shared tango split across all of them, so they're already showing a high reliance on having bucklers present in laning phase.
Armor just feels like the name of the game, especially for melee heroes now, with the Stout Shield being partially embedded into the hero.
It's all about it's the race to 10 armor. In terms of how armor works, once you get past that first 10 armor threshold, you really mitigate quite a lot of the damage. No need to go into too much maths, but having a buckler, having that casual ring, if you can encroach into that number, it is insane value.
Yeah, further past that, the value slowly diminishes. I think there's a huge Reddit thread on that about a year or 2 ago. Oh, Inkswell top.
So there's a beautiful graph you can Google.
Hero with a lot of armor in the form of rings. It won't be enough to keep him alive, though, as Doom gives away the first blood.
But this is the way that Team Spirit can enable the laning phase, where if you just put out a tri-lane, you have a Bounty Hunter Grimstrike combination, means you should be able to get those Inkswells off. The Morphling can just farm behind this buffer of aggression.
That's true. And obviously heroes like Bounty Hunter being able to start these Orb Venoms allows them to actually get on top of these heroes and punish. And Doom is one of those heroes, even with a double ring of protection, he is still a slow boy. He is still that type of offlaner you can exploit.
Yeah, Doom excels in 1v1 matchups or basic dual lanes where he has a strong laning partner. When he's against tri-lanes, that's when he suffers, especially when his laning partner is a disruptor.
Suffering again a little bit. Trying to snatch a bit of gold though.
HellRaisers need to find an Iron Talon from the tier 1 drops and allow this guy to access the jungle a little bit earlier than he should be able to.
The new life of offlaners.
I think like we haven't seen an Iron Talon, I think, across the last 2 to 3 games. So I think if we can find this item for our Doom, if we can all give him the energy of like Cast a Curse or whatever, what's the flip side of Cast a Curse? There's no way there's Cast a Luck. So.
Yeah, there's Cast a Praise, I don't Cast a Pray. Well, we look at no, you got okay. Play into your curses, play into your strengths here, T. Say he's gonna get a poor man's shield.
But that's also it allows him to somewhat jungle, right?
But Iron Talon's 10 times better, so.
That's true. Okay. Give him the water droplets. That's a bad one.
We'll
find out in about
the one where you
seconds.
get the regen in the river. You just take your creeps there. Ocean's Heart is a good item. I don't see your problem. I mean, your Gyro mid would love it. He'd turn into a Lycan himself with that.
Ooh. Importantly, though, look at the Immersion going for the Courier kill. He doesn't have mana for the Invis, though, so he's going to have to wait and try and time
No, he's just going to run. He's just going to go. I mean, he can actually reach it. There it is.
Courier has been killed.
Easy life.
It's this double ward setup where you're able to see both the mid lane ward and any attempts of juking the Courier out, which they did. And this ward spotted it out, so... This is like the type of way that you want to play in this Courier meta. You want to have, at least, if you have a hero that can kill Couriers, you want one ward to potentially scope out the Courier. You don't want to overcommit though. So now, he's got a couple kills, he's killed a Courier, he's finding value from this deep vision, and he's not overcommitting. Some players, they overcommitted hard, but Immersion's finding a way to balance out Courier killing and killing. Actual hero killing, there you go.
Well, it's usually around the objectives as well, right? Like, he does that rotation and immediately gets back in time to secure a bounty rune. Speaking of which, the bounty is now mid. They did rotate Misha in. They wouldn't do the Inkswell combo, but Gyro's a little bit too fast for that. They did at least force a TP rotation. It is nighttime now, though, so Centaur has to give it a little bit of lead.
The Nightwalker could just free farms bottom. And even though Morphling and Lycan are having a good start to the game, the overall power of HellRaisers grouping up still outweighs Team Spirit. So Team Spirit really need to continue this like out farm on their the pos 1 and 2 and try and make a couple moves with the Lycan. But let the Morphling Morphling needs to like AFK for 15 to 20 minutes for this game to be good for Team Spirit. they can't just have a good laning phase.
No, usually you're expecting the space to come from the Lycan applying pressure. Eventually your Centaur once he gets Blink, but before that, I don't see him winning anymore, considering how good the start is for Night Stalker in this lane.
Yeah, it'll just be a trader farm. He'll just have to exist and accept that Night Stalker is just going to free farm. But also, fun fact, this entire series, there has been a shovel in every game.
That is correct. In my opinion, one of the best ones to get. Just those bounty rune chances. Even when you consider how early you can get it as well, like the salves actually are pretty nice. Later on, you're like, great, I don't want these, but the first 10, 15 minutes, decent finds.
Okay, so HellRaisers, they've got the shovel, and then Team Spirit, they've got the faded brooch.
Yeah, I think I'd rather be HellRaisers right now.
But the faded brooch is a really good item for Bounty Hunter. Again, small mana pool, and he needs move speed, so it does answer a couple of the issues that you do have with Bounty Hunter.
The biggest issue I think he has right now is, I was about to say XP, but I think death. I think death overtakes.
Yeah, you don't get XP when you're dead. Unless it's 10 minutes and you get the outpost.
But look at the strategy here. Because he had to use the cooldown on the Bounty Hunter, Nyx, he's not going to farm this up as quickly.
Stop trying to find value. Alright. I've had enough of this. I'm not even going to let this go any further.
It was a very strategic feed.
No, the important thing is if the Bounty Hunter can force rotations, then those rotations mean there's less pressure onto this Morphling. And that is the fundamental thing for Team Spirit to have a good game, is this Morphling having insane farm. And again, like I said 2 to 3 times now, is getting to 20 or so minutes with key items. So as much confusion as you can cause in the bottom side of the map alleviates the pressure elsewhere.
So you loosely actually associate with my point about Bounty being fine for doing that in the mid. This is very good. You know,
Yeah. So I've now spun it back around and I've provided you an answer.
I've gone from tier 1 neutral item to tier 2 neutral item. I've improved.
There goes the courier.
Oh, now activate Wolf Form, ready to fight, but it gets trapped in by the kinetic field. And that cooldown will get a worthwhile kill.
Yeah, that dog. Whew.
Come on, puppies, can you do it? Nope, your master's dead. Run back to your kennel.
And that is the issue of Disruptor against Lycan and Jar against Lycan. Both of these heroes naturally do really well against this hero. So fair play, got the courier, but again, he's also adopting the policy of let me try and cause some aggression elsewhere and let me allow my Morphling to farm. But there's a line where it just gets bad.
Yeah, I think there's like a concern as well. It's like even if this Morphling keeps farming like this, the Night Stalker's matching it,
and also the fact that you have the Doom, which Doom naturally likes playing against single core lineups, where if the Lycan doesn't have a good game because he's doing this kind of forced aggression thing, then the Morphling will just get doomed and negate all the farm that he's attempted to collect.
That's the other big issue with Doom. That's why it was so frustrating for a very long time, is it forces you to build these Lincolns, and I mean, even after the buffs to Lincolns, it's an item that people try and avoid whenever they can. It's wholly defensive, really. There's not any aggressive aspect to it. It's not like a BKB where you're like, I can use this aggressively or defensively.
Lincoln's isn't that good this game, simply because of this Disruptor. You have the Collar as well. You have these high-ranged heroes that can pop a Lincoln's from Fog as well. So if you just combo the Lincoln's pop with a Blink Doom, then you're wasting 5k gold potentially. So it's all about positioning in this game for the Morphling. Like baiting out the fight, making the Doom feel like he has to use Doom to win the fight, and then the Morphling coming in and connecting.
Definitely. It just feels like in this type of game, just getting the BKB first would be more value. Like you can usually anticipate the Doom animation at least. Whereas you got all these AoE stances you mentioned, including there's also the Night Stalker that could get on top of you with the Crippling Fear. This is one of the harder Morphling games I've seen in a while. Lycan, Shapeshift has been activated. They're chasing onto the Doom. TP is coming into a system, but it's going to be far too late to make a difference. In fact, they are continuing. They're going to come in. Glimpse and Urgon away. Miposhka's actually completed his TP and maybe a mistake, though. Nyx is nearby, but not close enough. As they get a second kill, and Dark Ascension. Elmo, he went in as well. HellRaisers, they're on their way to hell, if anything, one by one. I'm not sure what this defensive strategy was.
That was a clear demonstration of TPing to an outpost. An outpost TP is default 6 seconds plus a second per hero. So the fact that you have a Kotal TPing first and a Night Stalker TPing to that same shrine, you've now got a 6 second and a 7 second TP, Your Disrupt is now TPing into a tier 1. Like, everyone's coming to this fight at completely different times. And when Team Spirit already set up, there's no way you'll ever win this fight, especially when Doom is the one to die first without being able to get any of his spells off. So I think that was really sloppy from HellRaisers, and they should have just continued farming and allowed the Doom just to die. Save your friend syndrome, I think it's coined as.
Yeah, the Congo line of death, also a good name for it. And in the mid, immersion goes down as well. This is the painful point in the game where you're a bounty hunter just shy of 6. You want to be able to start making plays, but you need to get that track online first. Then you need a partner. You need a Valor lane to even gank. The bigger concern. Because yes, you call out HellRaisers, courtesy of those outposts, but likely they won't be caught out the same way again. They should learn their lessons.
And it's just, again, it's the same as the last game. Even if they do die a couple times like this, they're still going to have a much stronger timing coming into that 20-minute mark. So as long as they don't give too much away, which they're not, they're keeping up. The deaths aren't leading to tower losses or any objective change. So
definitely. Nice little line been picked up there. The broom handle's been found. I think that's pretty good on the Doom, actually. Like, the range you get for the Infernal Blade, when he eventually levels it.
Convincing forgeries.
A royal jelly consumed by the Lycan. Oh. Give him some regen.
But who else gets the jelly? Surely
I'd
it's
probably
Morphling.
say Morphling. Yeah, Morphling or Bounty Hunter, I think.
I mean, you know,
I'd
Morph
probably
gets
say
enough
Bounty
out of his
Hunter.
perseverance. Bounty Hunter needs it.
Yeah, because Bounty Hunter's on the go, so I'd probably say Bounty Hunter.
Too much Bounty Hunter's just sapping up XP here from the gyro.
Will he be able to steal any items that are dropped? Oh.
I mean, I mentioned this is probably going to be a thing, right? Not just for the couriers, but the potential to take neutral items. The problem is, at this stage in the game, they've probably already got most of their items, and what big ones are there left? Well, there's the courier, but there's the dust, and now the chase. They go for the TP out. They try and push him close enough for the home missile, but not quite. Stampede was used as well. It looks like they doomed top, but Morphling did begin to shift the strength.
And that is the value of this Centaur pick. Like, you already see in the draft, it was a Doom and Disruptor first phase, right?
Yes.
So when you already see these two heroes, sure, the Disruptor can counter the Centaur in terms of disengaging fights. You instantly bring him back. But for the Doom has no kill potential in lane anymore, because the Centaur instantly stampedes. He's going to save whoever is Doom targeted, unless they are set up correctly with the Doom, where they have this Disruptor next to him to then glimpse him back. But evidently, they weren't set up for this kill properly.
And Team Spirit are this type of team that will benefit from this strategy the most, right? We talk about teams like to kind of ball together. They like to roam the map, as maybe 5 sometimes. HellRaisers presented that yesterday. Team Spirit have already given you a little sample of what they like to do. They like to pull you to both sides of the map, which means unless you're engaging on the Centaur, you're never getting this Morphling. If you're engaging on the Centaur, the Morphling then begins to play defensive elsewhere.
Yeah, I think it's just it's a testament to how, based off how you just said that, Spirit play like this the entire game, pretty much. They're always in their face. And HellRaisers, they opt to go for a very basic, generic split of Radiant Dire, right? They're never really making these aggressive moves onto the other side of the map until they have the items. Until they're ready, they're very defensive. So I think both these teams have different playstyles in the early game, and you can see how Team Spirits, it does favor them.
It looks like HellRaisers might be ready, though. The axe is complete, and Elmo's just picked it up just in time to defend this tier 1 tower as Gon begins to move in. But straight away, they should be deterred by the fact that Elmo has that axe.
Oh, the broom handle on the Night Stalker.
Oh, yeah. Moving forward, Dark Ascension, Glimpse, they see him, they get him with the Static Storm, he changes the shapeshift, but the kinetic field traps him in, and Lycan is just dead, the flat cannon clear orb, Ignis on the side as well, traps in, and the Soulbind won't make any difference at all as they chase on through. The silence should end on LTV, and he'll be able to move away. Lincoln's just coming off cooldown. They look on the other side though, and Saber's found out as they split up and they leave their Disruptor behind. They look for the kill on the ILTV, but the TP is perfectly timed to make his escape.
And they had no stun to cancel that TP, unfortunately.
No, the classic Night Stalker. You can build an axe all you want, but the issue's still the same. If you press Void, I press TP.
HellRaisers showing that they understand their lineup. They understand that it doesn't really matter how the first 13 minutes goes, because they will be stronger. Even if they had equal farm, HellRaisers have the stronger draft. So
yeah, you're creating 2, potentially 3 cores, because Doom is that type of hero that can change over as the game progresses, whereas Team Spirit, you know, the Lycan, possibly, but he's likely to focus on split pushing and towers. It's always about this Morphling in reality.
yeah, and Morphling's always trying to play away from his team. He's always just trying to get that little bit extra from the game.
Playing towards the rest of Morphling's team, though, is the Radiant Size. They find Ergon, they even tip him. They kill him off. And actually, LTV just found an item as well.
Like, how do you deal with this death ball? What does Team Spirit bring to an engagement right now? They have a Centaur that has a hood but no initiate, potentially one on the courier. No, he has completed his pipe. Like, they have no way of wanting to start a fight. They are reliant on HellRaisers taking a bad fight.
HellRaisers are going to continue to take decent looking fights so far. Centaur gets hit up by the Doom. Didn't have the Stampede available, but they just want to ensure the kill as they zone away Grimstroke. Banning it throughout tracks, but what does it really achieve? Adaptive Strike, final hit with the tower? Just about gets rid of the Doom. He was about 5 HP off living, actually.
If he salved 0.1 second earlier, he might have lived. No.
I mean, he's got all these salves, these trusty salves from his trusty shovel.
He
should be pressing him at all times.
It's so dumb that he can just collect random items from the ground.
Hoarders. This is a hoarder's item right here.
But what HellRaiser's just done, that kill on the Centaur and trading the Doom, it's those type of plays where they take these mutual trades that play into Spirit's favor. HellRaisers are in a position right now that a fight should lead into an objective. Any fight that leads into no objective is better for Team Spirit.
Just buys them more time because HellRaisers are having to fight on their own side of the map, and eventually Morphling will be something. Hopefully, once he has his E-Blade, he can start making plays. The question is whether there'll be BKBs by then. You know, you've already got one on Nyx. Likely you'll see Elmo build into one next. Doom, he has options. He's going for the Crimson Guard, but afterwards, Blink or BKB could work. Jump in with the Blink. Elmo sees two targets. Centaur silenced up. They'll turn around the other one. Stampede to try and get him away. Lycan just about gets out. Glimpse back in, but the Shapeshift's been activated and he's on the wrong side of the kinetic field. He will be stunned up, though. Trying to chase down. Oh, Ergon? Okay, that is not how you should be using the Stampede there. Ends up on the... I was checking him for spider legs. How the hell did he get down there?
He ran around the sets. He just ran down, right?
No, he was here.
Oh, blinding light.
I think, but yeah, he must have got blinding light. That's what I'm figuring. It looked like he walked into it, though, because he was running this way anyway. Poor puppy.
It's like he needs to find his place within this game. He's trying to go for this Necro build, but
I mean, I think he found it. It's just in his fountain. And Bounty Hunter will join him.
Like, he's meant to be the guy that creates confusion and tempo. Right now, he's just been picked off one too many times.
Nisha getting picked off as well. They're not learning. Team Spirit are just hemorrhaging kills one after the other. At this rate, HellRaiser will be on your high ground, because you'll be dead. There's the glimpse back into the Static Storm. Centaur is going to be dead as well. The pipe won't be enough to keep him alive. Nice snipe out by LTV, but now he needs to be careful. All waveform away. Nyx a little bit far into the base. Doesn't have BKB for 5 seconds. I'll just make sure LTV cannot adaptive strike out onto them. TP comes in. Immersion does throw out a track, but Nyx will TP out, and the rest should be able to retreat, as it's still nighttime.
HellRaisers utilizing their vision. This Disruptor Night Stalker combo, it's very powerful.
This is one of those frustrating games for a bounty hunter. You're like, I got these track guys, but there's no one who can take the kills, right? The Morphling wants more farm. The Lycan doesn't really want to kill. He wants to split push and farm.
Exactly. We spoke about this in the draft. This bounty hunter, sure, it's a good opening that if you want to create some confusion where you can go for couriers and make these connecting plays, but when your whole core are independent of each other, Centaur doesn't want to play with Morphling. Centaur doesn't want to play with Lycan. They all want to do their own thing until they get to a point where their items support the gaps in their draft.
The double dust. They glimpse away his support. You say you don't want to play with Centaur. Centaur was at least willing to show up for the outpost, but now Merchant just has to leave. Glimpse back. Catch him out. The silence. Sentry goes down as well, and Bounty Hunter is dead. Stampede is also going to be on cooldown.
But this is where these pickoffs work, because if the Disruptor wasn't there, then that Stampede, sorry, would have saved the Bounty Hunter. So it's critical that the Disruptor is always present in pickoffs or any aggressive moves.
And now everyone from HellRaisers will be present in the pit as they move in to claim the first Aegis of the game. And I mean, Team Spirit have no way of contesting this anymore. It's arguable that they even had a way with the Stampede, to be honest. It's only a 2k net worth lead, but it's all about... You always have to think about it as the allocated net worth, like what's actively being purchased right now, and also the kind of items you have to. We mentioned this Lincoln's. It immediately feels like a Morphling when he starts this game against a Doom lineup. He is 5k short on net worth compared to anyone else, because it feels like a sunken cost you have to make, but you don't want to.
Well, Morphling is all about, like, it's a very high skill hero. It's about playing on the most the smallest margin between life and death so you can get the most damage out. And when you have to buy Lincolns, you're not buying those early stat items that allow you to have that kind of skilled play. So you need to wait, and then you get E-Blade, and now you're a support killer. So he's now hitting the window where he will be doing a lot of damage in these fights. So I think it's critical that you get the Doom off on this Morphling at the start of the fight, which then boils down to the vision and who can actually have the better positioning when you start the fight.
More importantly, it's reached a stage where the fights are about who is proactive, not who is reactive. And looks like they're going to be proactive and get a kill and a save straight away.
And exactly when I talk about positioning, this Disruptor just standing in front of his tier 2 tower next to the high ground. You're asking to die there.
And Team Spirit, they asked nicely if you just leave and let them have this tower, and as a result you have to, and you just have a head on your side as well. As Disruptor goes down, a little bit of time on the sideline. That gives Team Spirit time to actually just try and farm up this jungle. Maybe move top, take another tower after they secure the outpost.
I do like how the Lycan, though, he's sat back. He's accepted that his pickoffs and his deaths during the 15 to 20 minute mark was making his team actually lose some of these fights. So he sat back and he started to farm defensively, allowing his Morphling to join his team and kind of do more of the aggressive farming patterns.
The cover and move style, right? It's like, you know, just like in a war zone, one you've got to cover, one you've got to move. Sometimes you just have to step back and realize you're not the one to make the plays anymore. And while the Morphling's your end game answer, it is his time to shine.
Exactly, but right now, HellRaisers, they have the Dark Ascension back up, and they need to get some kills. They have a thirst for blood right now.
Well, they're going to move around with the smoke up the river right now. With that DD on the Gyro, they could do some serious damage if Team Spirit wasn't already out.
But it's so obvious. This triple, quadruple creep wave of range creeps is plowing into your top tower. There is no way Team Spirit should be unaware that the smoke is occurring.
Yeah, that's why they retreat so far back. He gets hit up with the Thunder Strike. Not the optimal glimpse target though, and they won't hard commit for a Grimstroke, not at the tower. The pings do come out. Looks like they've got a little sight of immersion here as they're TPing back right now. He's going ever deeper, dragging them away from bigger targets. They won't even find him for it. Halfway to an Ags on this Bounty Hunter, by the way.
Oh, Ags. It's still they're still the same, right? With the stun and the bouncing?
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea, right? Because you get Soulbind, you track, and then you just double shuriken toss with the bounce backs. That's a lot of damage in a fight.
Yeah, I've seen some builds back on old patch where off-lane Bounty Hunter would go Tranquil's Ags and just demolish the early game. So it was like
wasn't that back when he got the ring
pubs
from his junglers, right?
Oh, it was like a 1 in 100 pubs. But, yeah, the rings as well was a good one, but
that was the dirty times.
Very solid. They were the good times, man.
If you're an offlaner, for sure.
It's good times to be an offlaner now as well. Like,
this is true. But if you were a 4 at that point, you're like, oh hell no, that's 875 gold he's borrowing from me. Probably won't even use it myself later.
Ugh. How dare he?
Because they, you know, typical pubbers as a 4. If they look at that, they go, oh, I'm not going to be a Lotus. That's not killing
the transfer of neutral items as well. Like the ones that are recipes, you can create the items
and give it across,
and then give it across. So,
yeah, we tested this last night. We're like, that's actually broken. Yeah. That's like the whole concept of that. It's just a support could build them for you.
But it's no, because supports don't have the economy to build these items. The whole idea and how I see it balanced is cores are the ones that use it to farm early on because they need to bridge the fact like they got 2 Wraith bands. Yeah, and then when it gets to that 25-minute mark where they have items, you give it to your support. So it's allowing for all points of the game for 5 heroes to have some type of presence in a fight. And then it boils down to who has the better vision, who has the better kind of draft, for example, right? So
you say that, but tell that to my Terrorblade at 30 minutes that still holds on to it.
But that's very specific onto the stat ones. So
yeah, that's one thing though. That's where it could be really busted is if you combine it with illusion-based heroes as an example.
This is the best one.
Oh, they got the sliver,
the Titan sliver.
It's so amazing.
This is kind of what the Lycan needed. He's the guy who's going in first. He needs to be a little bit tankier. So the fact he gets this neutral item, it answers a lot of questions for this Lycan. They're very lucky to get this item, actually. Very, very lucky.
Now, on the other side, the Mindbreaker was picked up. Not a bad item for a Gyrocopter, but this isn't exactly the type of hero that just breaks the game, right? It's not like this hero with ridiculous immense attack speed.
but it is good for the fact that when he gets the Aghanims, Gyro's used to buy Diffusal Blade, so now he has this. It's like it's a very this is a good item. Magic resist as well. The shotgun doesn't really hurt him, so it's just a good addition to his inventory.
Yes, adapt to strike attempt, but BKB forced out. Stampede as well. Lings gets popped, and straight away they're onto that Morphling. He's doomed up. Chase him through. The Soulbind is linking them together, but it keeps them together to kill off the Morphling. As he's caught out, Ignis goes down as well. Drags more in. Looking for the follow-up kills. Lycan trying to run away with a home missile coming in, and then there's going to be a glimpse back to ensure that he goes down. 2 big pickoffs. The third one as well as Elmo moves forward with the blink. They find Misha. They'll find the tier 1 tower. And Team Spirit, this is going to be a lot more than just one tower. They're going to have to glyph on the high ground and pray that HellRaisers leave because they have nothing left to defend with.
Well, when your Morphling who has a Lincolns and a BKB does get doomed because, you know, there's so many Lincolns poppers and he's the first one to start the fight, you're gonna kind of lose it. So, HellRaisers, their draft hasn't changed. They're still got the same heroes. They're still got the same strengths, and they literally done the perfect fight. They doomed the right target. They jumped the backline. It was perfect. They got the Morphling died first as well, so I think Team Spirit just felt a little bit too confident there. Like their whole lineup is about moving heroes around the map, getting those key pickoffs, and then starting the fight. Right, the Lycan just runs in, causes HellRaisers to waste a couple of spells. But when you're just plowing straight in, like HellRaisers, they have the better mid game draft. They have the better like everything. They've got the stuns, the lockdowns. Team Spirit, they need to be careful.
No, definitely. It just felt like there was no pincer attempt from Team Spirit. It was more or less them just trying to ram themselves against the superior mid-game of HellRaisers.
Exactly that.
It's not going to work in this type of game. You know, you expect Team Spirit, we mentioned their strength. They're so good at splitting up the map, and that was not them playing to their strengths at all.
And now Team Spirit are just trying to run into high ground, potentially not respecting the vision that HellRaisers have here, so...
Well, at least they'll get rid of it now. It looks like HellRaisers are willing to give them a little bit of space. They're not ready to fight. They're going to wait for the big combos with the Doom off cooldown on 25 seconds. I expect them to fight again very soon, especially with Night Stalker approaching level 20, where his damage spikes up very noticeably.
I really like the build from Night Stalker this game. He had the Ags Rush, of course, very good. You got the Coddle, the early BKB, and the Blink Dagger. He needs to just get on this Morphling.
He already has 3k again, so another big item soon. In the meantime, a smoke. Bobo leading the way. Now,
their high ground was about to expire, so they know that the Lycan's just farming. Yeah,
exactly. And here they go. They know exactly where it's going to be. They jump in, silence him up. They say, why use the Doom right now? You might have to, because Shapeshift's been activated. The glimpse back onto him. Damage might be high enough, and it looks like Urgon should die. He's down. Dead for 50 seconds. Things will calm down for a moment. They didn't even have to use their big ultimates there on the side of HellRaisers. However, Stampede was used. Like and Shapeshift was used. Jump in. Stun on a 2. Static Storm goes down to try and protect him. The shotgun out. Nyx. BKB moves away, but it's too late. He's dead. They find a big kill. Now they'll clean up the Ignis and try and clean up more heroes. Elmo looks to retreat. Will blink out after using the BKB. The pings come up, but Bobo is already out. Looks like HellRaisers should get everyone else out, but say no. Oh. Ghosting just off with the hoof stomp. The ping came too late.
HellRaisers were way too confident there. The bot wave was already deep into the base, right? They just know no one's defending. They got a pick off from Lycan, and there was a full team fight, but they stayed to hit the shrine. And then both cores grouping up, like not expecting to jump. Like the Morphling, it still does damage. And only if the Centaur gets like this perfect stun can Team Spirit take this fight. And they get the gyro pickoff. So I think HellRaisers, even though they get a couple kills, or a kill nonetheless, they need to be careful.
I respect the fact, Team Spirit, while they are a little bit down on their luck at the moment, they're not out of this.
No,
so
not
who
at all.
is the Doom? Shotgun again.
It's the same principle as before. They're feeling a little bit too confident with their position in this game.
Oh, by the way, a little fun interaction for you. If you pass the Helmet Undying to someone when they are in that form, they will then be able to use it as well.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Just thought we began this game with a broken Aghanims interaction. We might as well find another chuckler.
I'm just picturing like the first pro player to accidentally
save his teammates.
No, the Aghanims on Sven, you know?
Oh, accidentally, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to occur at some stage. He's like, oh, damn, I'll switch my blink out and I'll try and escape when I come back up. And then he's like, no. Guys,
Guys,
can I get a game restart, please?
your admin, please.
Plenty of broken things to be discovered here. We've already seen some lifestealer support yesterday in the Open qualifiers. Wonder if we'll get a treat today.
Good.
We're going to get a treat at some point today.
Obviously, it is a low bracket though. Teams, the monetary value between second and third is insane.
That's
so
true.
I think these guys will keep it serious unless they have a very good combo around it and they practiced it. I think we're going to see a lot more of these like HellRaiser drafts, these big team fights.
Well, we'll see a big team fight coming as they smoke and move into the river. They want to secure Roche, but they want an entrance kill first.
They need to somehow get Vision out at the start of this fight. Both teams opting for their own high ground ward, so...
Nick's in the pit. Oh. He's forced to fight with Roche due to his axe. A fight he probably doesn't want, because if they do engage, this could get messy, but he continues. And he will finally move out the pit. Decent damage done, but too risky to continue. However, Morphling has TP'd out. He does still have a TP to return to the shrine.
Or
Do you smoke
HellRaisers
again?
are getting their own Titan sliver as well.
Oof. Question is, who do you give it to? Probably Elmo. Seems like the most obvious choice.
Yeah, you can maybe change out the broomstick, or you could give it to the Doom and take away that dragon scale because it's only a little bit of armor.
Yeah, it's kind of moving past that point where the dragon scale gets huge value. But they'll calm down. They'll just go and secure the outpost at the time being. But this Roche, this one could decide it all. Either way, you look at the map right now, you know, one team is missing a lane, the other one has no outer towers. Buybacks are going to be crucial here, and not every hero has them. The big one's missing it, actually. The Lycan on one side, the Doom on the other. And the Centaur as well.
You just need to push out this mid lane. Allow for the lanes to be in a spot where you can contest Roshan.
They'll be captured back by Immersion in the meantime. He did get the Ags in the end, by the way, and I think he might have more goodies coming out. Nah, it's just going to be the TPs. You don't have to stock them up anymore, right? You have your own commit courier. You can be very inefficient with your TP slot.
The question is there more... I think right now, HellRaisers should capture that top outpost again. Because if they try and contest Roshan right now, they're going to be fighting at Roshan during the 35-minute mark. So they need to make sure there's at least a 1-for-1 on outpost at the 35.
And if you go bot, you reveal that you're going to be late to the fight. It's not like you have the Morphling with boots of travel on your side.
Exactly that.
Have we actually got any other big items? It doesn't look like it.
We're at the point of the game where it all boils down to, can the Doom the Morphling at the start of the fight? If so, they should just run over them. If he can't Doom the Morphling and he potentially gets picked off first, which he shouldn't do now with the BKB.
But this is something that LTV should be aware of, and he should be looking to farm up and keep buyback, but he hasn't. Dark Ascension.
Okay.
HellRaiser had enough.
Now.
Like, this has been too quiet for too long. Morphling will TP in now. Lycan Shapeshift been activated. Jump in with the Doom, though, straight away. Onto the Stampede man himself. The Centaur can't get them out of dodge. Trying to move away. Gonna release the two together. Trapped in the corner. They found Immersion. Bounty Hunter will go down the flat cannon. Continue on to Misha. Now he has to use the Ghost Set. The buyback comes out from Bounty Hunter, but Misha, he should be going down. Nick's doing BKB, trying to move away from LTV, who will just flat cannon into all of them right now. Moves across on the Bo, who's tracked up, and they have full vision of him. Stampede, chase in. E-Blade comes out. And goodbye to the Doom and the follow-up. They'll actually find the kill on Decolt as well on the side, as Urgon's Shapeshift does end. Conversions onto Elmo, but nighttime triggers, perfectly timed, couldn't be better for him, as he will be able to move away, but they have got 3 dead. Question is, do you buy back anyone? Probably not, considering Doom, the biggest threat, doesn't have buyback.
Like, even though they forced out a double support buyback, I don't think this initiation was what HellRaisers needed. Like, they're at Roshan, and sure, you doom the Centaur and you take away that initiate and disengage factor, but the raw damage and the ability to be mobile around the fight. Morphling, he becomes a Gyro, he's already at the bottom of the fight. He then instantly gets into the river, gets a couple more kills. Like, he's so mobile and so farmed right now that it's... I still feel Saints Row are a single core lineup. Doom punishes single core lineups. You should only be getting rid of the Morphling in these fights.
It's incredibly hard now, though, because the thing you have to consider is he has the Satanic, and when he doesn't have that Aegis, that Titan Sliver, he's up to 50% stats resistance.
He's a he's a tanky man, that's for sure. But it's the damage you can do to him in that time. Like he's playing on 1500 HP. You're 1500 HP and no ability to shift. You will be dying in these fights.
That's the big crucial part, though. We mentioned
And
it earlier.
Disruptor has the Aghanim's as well.
So you'd think they'd be able to get there. I mean, you see Seo going for the blink. Maybe that's the answer, but the problem is the question will be asked much sooner as Team Spirit are moving onto your side of the map, and they do have that Aegis. They will look to push high ground before you can get a next item on Disruptor.
Yeah, the Disruptor's already... He's capped out at what he can provide to the fights, even with a bit of ability. It's all about taking a fight in a choke point and utilizing the fact that you can get this big Static Storm off. You can get this Night Stalker into the backlines.
In the meantime, the map gets ever small for HellRaisers. They need to find a way to get out, and this is the problem. When you actually think of all the wards that are going down for Team Spirit, when you think about how hard they're pressing you, the opportunity to wrap around for HellRaisers, which they desperately need, is much more difficult to achieve. But just like any sort of military warfare, if you spread your lines thin, they are susceptible to a brute force push on one side or the other. And that is what Team Spirit are doing right now.
And Team Spirit, they are... Like, this was... I'm trying to... What's the net worth, actually? How do I look at the gold?
Net worth is pretty even. If you press your Y button, you can see it's actually not looking too bad on the core front. When you're HellRaisers, you've got 2 cores close to Morphling's net worth. And then you've got a Lycan matching a Doom's net worth. And
I was trying... Yeah, it's very back and forth. Like, HellRaisers, they had a pretty decent position at 25-minute mark, and now we are getting to the point where Team Spirit can take these decent fights. Sure, they lost the last one, but... Well, they didn't actually lose it. They had to use buybacks, so technically... I'd say it's more even because of the buybacks, and they actually get a couple kills as well, but...
yeah, buybacks become crucial at this stage, even on supports, because it gives you a potential window. Speaking of which, they see someone overextend and they punish it, and that is one of the people that brought back. Misha gets killed off.
This is what happens when you try and control the entire enemy jungle like this. There's no way you're going to be able to always have the best vision and deward. If you control 1/4 of a jungle and skip the waves, then you naturally will have this aggression, but safely. If they want to come and contest you, you have to fight the entire team. But because they're trying to play split and again control the entire jungle, that's when these pickups occur.
And when you think about the way that Team Spirit's lineup functions, we talked about this already, they like to split the map sometimes a little bit too much. You have to identify the point where it's not the early game where you can go, aha, they ganked me so they're not touching the Morphling and he can just farm up. You're at a stage where if you die, as the Grimstroke is presented, you're gone for a very, very long time. And there it is. Force back to
doesn't
base.
care. Look, he's got the Satanic BKB Aegis. He's just gonna chip away at that tier 3.
Almost gets it as well, forces out the glyph. There's no punishment for it either.
But right now, HellRaisers should be smoking up. You see this bottom wave. You have that one deep ward to know there's still 2 to 3 heroes there. The Grimstroke said there could be a potential for a good team fight right now.
Not to mention Aegis is running out soon. So there could be a window. But they're just dodging Morphling in the meantime. As they move away, they spot him with their vision in the jungle. Nyx, however, still playing up. Gets hit by the Stomp. The E-Blade as well. A lot of damage, but there's the Static Storm to protect. BKB comes out pretty early from Nyx. Had to. Because LTV is still chasing onto him as it runs out soon. Turn around, force more items. Satanic had to be activated just to try and get the lifesteal on the retreat. Now the Stampede as well. The Stomp holding a long time on Elmo. He's chasing deeper. They won't actually pursue this, though. As Night Stalker's able to get back to base, they get everyone out. They do force some big commitments from HellRaiser, though. The Static Storm, the BKB. But they did have to use the Stampede to achieve that.
Bounty.
It wasn't that great of a fight, especially because you didn't have the Grimstroke there at the start, so...
Well, not to mention the fact they lost to tier 4 as well.
Yeah. But this is where HellRaisers potentially could have punished that a little bit better. The Aegis is expiring around... Actually, just expired now, so they could have maybe gone for a backline jump, and whilst the creeps were pushing in as well. But it's fine.
Oh, look at this. Oh, gone. They catch him out. They stance him up. Nullifier as well. He doesn't have any way to protect against this, and that's a big pick off onto the Lycan. Now return. BKB up. They Soulbind as well. They're chasing. The Doom does connect, and the Glimpse back. No! They've caught out the Morphling. This could be huge. And with the Infernal Blade damage at this stage of the game, they should be able to burst through him. The Static Storm goes down. Ignis as well. They control him up, and Ghosted gets trapped additionally alongside his cores. That is all 3 cores on the side of Team Spirit dead. And HellRaisers, they ball towards the base because at least one of these does not have buyback. Made that 2, in fact. Glimpse back. Bonus kill on
Glimpse
the
is
side.
demolishing them right now.
It's the most snowbally spell you can really think of on a support. It's like, great, you're losing a fight, retreat. Because if I see you for a second, it's you dead as well.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
And this
now
could be it.
HellRaisers. Only the Morphling with a buyback. They only have a Bounty Hunter. Where's their... Like, who's going to back up this Morphling right now?
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
It's him versus the world, I'm afraid, T.
Dire's middle
Kamajaro, maybe it's a possibility, but he's still reliant on the magic damage more than the physical is the biggest issue. This is going to be mega creeps, at least.
This will be mega creeps and then most likely some pressure onto the Ancient. I think they're going to realize there's no buybacks.
BKB. Pretty early for LTV. Had no choice. Trying to do the damage with the flat cannon right now. Nick stands his ground, though, and makes sure that he can't kill off the rest of HellRaisers.
But no one's buybacking. Hold up. Do they even have it? No, they don't.
No, they realize that they come back in, especially seeing as now the BKB is being expended by Morphling. What do? You
Dire's top barracks
just watch your base crumble, tear in your eye. As HellRaisers, they leave without a single casualty. They'll try to find one, but Elmo blinks away in time.
Gonna show some discipline leaving there. Don't want to be too risky.
Motion is still chasing. Elmo knows it as well. Bobo was trying for it. They might have been able to find him there. But it's not worth it for a measly bounty hunter at this stage. So, questions of the Maya team spirit. What do we do now? Roche could potentially come up in 40 seconds. We need to push out these waves. Not an opportunity to death push either because you didn't kill anyone. And most of them will have buybacks by now as well, if not all.
Team Spirit have a single play, which is try and force a team fight right now before lanes are pushed in. Use the Lycan Howl on side lanes to try and get a push going. And if they can win a fight, force a buyback, then they can potentially get a win condition.
Look at their desperation. It's so clear to HellRaisers. It's a complete textbook. They just back away completely. The outer lane's already shoving in hard against Team Spirit as well. Roche
And Roshan's about to spawn.
might. You are praying
May
right
respawn,
now.
mate. Ah!
2
No.
minutes, 40
Okay.
seconds.
Okay, the game wants HellRaisers to win. Can confirm. I read the May as a actual respawn, but yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would have been a dream come true for Team Spirit, but I'm afraid that is not the way this story goes.
That was like the only way Team Spirit could actually contest this Roshan. Because right now,
scanning.
HellRaisers should be able to push out the lanes and control this Roshan quite definitively.
No Cinderella story this game for them. Instead, just your typical life lessons. You work hard. You just progressively get better and better. Take more control. Good things
Morphling
come your
going
way.
for the Rapier though.
This is only play, but to be honest, I don't know
Too
if that's
late.
going to shift him through from the magical to physical damage enough. Maybe with a flat cannon is what he's hoping, but he's so susceptible to death now. They have the items to counter him.
Rapier's purchased. The lanes are actually in a good spot right now. They could actually take a fight right now. It is only a 9k lead. Like, if HellRaisers mess up on their initiation, don't get that Doom off onto the Morphling, then Team Spirit can potentially take a fight.
You can see HellRaiser's uncertainty as well. They're just waiting for this roast. They realize, okay, guys, we have control. It is that stage in the game, though. Why risk it when we get an Aegis, Cheese, maybe a little summon on the side? They even get some more damage on the Nyx now, as he does have his Daedalus.
Now you can see from their positioning, they're at a point where they don't need to do anything. Don't need to farm anything else. They can just hold a high ground and wait for Roshan. Or potentially go and try and invade the jungle and hold their high ground.
By the way, have you seen how tanky this Disruptor is?
Let me guess, 2.1k?
3.5k.
3 point. Oh my.
Good old Witless Shaco. The changes definitely favored supports.
Wait, did I say 2.5?
Yes, you were a full
Okay,
1,000
so-
off.
But like, I was accounting for no neutral items, right? So can I still claim it being right?
No. The game has changed. You must change with it. Evolve with the product, T.
Okay.
When I say evolve
bad,
with the
man.
product, it's like I'm explaining to you to buy into energy drinks now.
Let's go.
Alright, Nullifier out. 4-star to get him out. Courtesy of his ally, and Lotus will protect BKB. They're going in. The Doom comes out onto the Morphling. Stampede to get him out. Can they find a single target? They might. Because guess who's still in? Urgon. Trying to escape. That's the wrong side of the map, my friend. And if you're not careful, you might get stunned at the wrong time. Nope. The stun returns. That worked out perfectly. Elmo was mid-animation on the void, but they re-engaged without the Lycan. No! Big mistakes. Bounty Hunter gets called out. Misha gets hit up with the Nullifier. LTV will hold the high ground as he no longer is affected by the Doom. But can he even find anything off the back of this? I'm not sure he can. Forced off to get him out. Stomp. Ghosted. Commits again. Glimpse. Gets him away. Morphling. He went in though. No, the Static Storm. He baits himself into a mess. Tries to heal up, but it may be too much damage. They're all on top of him. It's Morphling versus the world, and the world will crush him as the GG comes out. HellRaisers take the series 2-1.
Fair play to HellRaisers. They adapted after the first game, really adjusted their draft, made sure that for game 2 and 3 they had a way to play at all stages of the game. I think Team Spirit, they're potentially trying to be a little bit too quirky. We saw yesterday with that Nature's Prophet draft. It was good, but it was it had its question marks. Again with this draft, like when you see HellRaisers having very clear, definitive, like we have a single target type Doom, we got this Night Stalker Coddle, but we're still picking Lycans, Morphlings, and we're allowing your draft to feel stronger because we have a single core against a Doom. We have this Lycan who just feels pressured, can't really pressure because you have a Night Stalker with Ags, you have a Gyrocopter with Flak, you got this Disruptor as well with this catch. Like, Team Spirit, they have to play so well for this draft to perform, and when you don't perform to that level, it just means that easier draft will win.
It's this crucial issue that we kind of seen a comparison of, right? We mentioned VP and these higher tier teams that will punish you for small mistakes, right? But the thing that no team wants to do when that's on their mind is create a draft where like they're accounting for mistakes, right? It's always like teams are stuck with this new patch between the old style of giving yourself a fallback plan versus kind of going all in. And we're seeing this experimentation phase where Team Spirit is one of those perfect examples of a team that all into one core and try and split the map. But about halfway through the game, every time we watch them, it's like they feel pressured to engage sooner than they should, and they get punished for it time and time again.
Yeah, I think as well, another thing to take for like HellRaisers, in their first game, their vision was what lost them the game. They took really bad fights just because they were trying to go into high ground areas where they had no control. The second game, they utilized the Beastmaster, they had a Night Stalker, and they answered the lack of their support getting the correct vision out with the hero picks. Again, in this game, they've got a Night Stalker, they got this Disruptor that can use the Night Stalker vision, and then it was getting better. But because I get a new patch, Ward Sports, they aren't kind of ingrained into these support players. Getting these D wards out, it isn't that easy. So fixing those problems of a new patch and understanding the map with hero picks, it shows better vision does win games.
You feel like maybe one of the big things for Team Spirit to take away from this is kind of like shot calling, team coordination, because there were some fights in that. It's not just the kind of macro play, the way they usually split the map and then get indecisive. That final fight was, yes, it was a mixture of Disruptor glimpsing people away, but you also saw these overcommitments after your teammates are gone, right? Like that final moment with Morphling. Was that the right call to just try and 1v5? Like, was that all in or we're screwed anyway? Or
I think that's at that point of the game, it's already over. Like they're trying to commit to a fight. They've already been mega creeps. It's kind of it's a hard one to try and analyze for that. I think the biggest takeaway is actually just how after the draft, how do they have their approach to the game? So their centaur can start a fight and they can have this Morphling come in, but what's the Lycan doing to their piece? Like HellRaisers, all their lineup. It's very easy to look at their lineup and go, oh, okay, so their fight is a Night Stalker's going from one side, Doom's doing a target, and then you got the supports who have like a buffer to play behind. Team Spirit, you look at their draft, it's like you have a Lycan running around, you got a Morphling running around, Bounty Hunters sniping out couriers and being annoying, but like, where's their cohesion in their team? So I think the biggest takeaway for Team Spirit, like in terms of the game, they're doing the right things. They're pushing out lanes. They're getting these courier snipes. They got good vision. They had much better vision in terms of physical wards across all 3 games. But the issue is their draft doesn't come in together that easily. It's like it's hard for them to execute, and that's their biggest takeaway. They need to simplify their win condition.
well, they'll probably just be eating takeaway. No big steak dinner to celebrate a victory here for the side of Team Spirit. HellRaisers, they proceed through, and they will face a bigger opponent next, as the team that they face up against next took out Team Spirit yesterday 2-0 to put them in the lower bracket. That's right. After about 30-minute break, maybe 40, we'll be back with J178 versus HellRaisers to decide who will go forward to tomorrow to face off against Virtus Pro in a best of 5. Stay tuned.